Hi, I'm Dave Trull with the Trull Gallery, a custom furniture shop in St. Petersburg, Florida. And today I'm going to show you how to router hinges. What I'm going to show you today with my example is a small cabinet hinge. The process is the same whether you're doing a cabinet hinge like this or a full-size door hinge anywhere in the home. What I've done is I've made a jig that fits this hinge particularly. And because of the way I'm going to use my router, the jig is a little bit larger than my hinges. The reason for that is because I've had to set up my router with a template guide, which is this plate in the bottom. And what's going to happen is this guide is going to follow my jig, and the router bit itself is just smaller than the guide. So I had to make the offset in my measurements. In this case, I had to allow for a 1/16 inch over from my bit to the outside of my template guide. So on each of the three sides of my jig, I'm a 1/16 of an inch wider. So the next thing I'm going to do is I've got my stock clamped up to my bench, and I'm going to clamp my jig to the stock, and I would line it up so it's in the right place where I want my hinge to be on my cabinet or on my door or door frame. And now it's a simple matter of cutting the mortise for the hinge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the left-hand side. I'm going to come in, follow the jig, keeping my template guide nice and tight to the jig, in, back, and out. And then I'll make one more pass to clear it, because in this case I'm using a 1/2 inch bit and it's a 3/4 inch mortise, so I can clean it in 2 passes. Larger mortises for door hinges would of course take a few more passes. The next thing I want to do is I want to set the depth of my cut. And first I'm going to do is put the router in place and plunge all the way down until my cutter is touching my stock. This particular router is a plunge router, so I can make my height adjustments fairly simply. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hinge and put it between one of the stops, bring my stop guide down till it just touches, lock that in place, and now I know my cutter is going to be at the right depth for this hinge. Now before you take your jig off, you want to take a quick look to make sure that everything is cut right, you didn't leave anything missing, because it's very difficult to line your jig up just right a second time. So I can see here that I've got a nice clean bottom. One of the things you'll find when you're working with a router is you're going to get rounded corners. A lot of door hinges come with rounded corners because of that. Most of your furniture type hinges are going to come with square corners. So the last thing we have to do is square the corners of our mortise. A simple way is to just come in with a chisel, square up one side, square up the other, and then simply come in and clean it out. Now I'm using a fairly soft material here, so I can clean that out by hand. At this point, it's just a matter of sliding your hinge in and making sure that everything is just right and that we have a nice snug fit. So I've just gone over how to cut a hinge mortise with a router. I'm Dave Trull with the Trull Gallery, the fine art of furniture making.